All right, back at it today. Yesterday was a wash. It was Sunday, and I ended up going to help one of my buddies. And while I was out there, after I was done with him, I ended up going hanging out with another friend of mine to catch up and had pick his brain on a few things. So finally back at it today. It's Monday, and now the roof is coming Friday. So now I got to get everything done by Friday, and I got today and tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon it's supposed to stop raining. Tomorrow morning I have to go drop off Riley. Hopefully I can do that early. And then Wednesday I think it's going to be a rain out. And curveball as usual is I have to go swap out the shingles that I got. And I was under the impression this place was just a place that had good prices, and it wasn't until I was unloading them back here that I noticed that these are basically their IKO shingles and stuff, which is a good brand, but they are factory defects, and they are absolutely compacted, like fused together, like brutal. I'll see if I can show you here for a second here. Let's put that down, grab a light. But yeah, as I was unloading them at the house Saturday morning, I was just disgusted, and then I opened up a couple of them, and they're terrible. So let's see if I can show you just how bad they are. Bear with me. My truck is still full of everything from going to get that caddy I bought and everything, and I'm just gonna have to put you guys down for a second here. And I think it'll matter if I put it on that. Bear with me. Okay. So, if you look, the ends, they're not terrible, but you can tell they've been laying around a while. But if you look, that was overhanging the pallet. Look at how much it is compressed, that whole bundle. Let's see if I can get some light in here. Yeah, you can see how compressed that is. And how like fused together it is. Like you can't even feel the architectural layer on that thing. And then got another one in here that I pulled out of another bundle that looked like a pretty good bundle. And this one here still, there's your architectural layout. There should be a ridge here. There's no ridge. It's totally flattened. So these things have been stacked way too high, way too deep. But yeah, you can see a little bit of it there. And this whole edge here, you can't even see it. And that's how most of them are. And that's pretty terrible. And then all the rest of them, they're all impacted like this stuff. This stuff is absolutely trash. But that stuff is just flattened out. And you started separating them apart. And there's the other one I had here. Yeah, and you can see like some of the upper shingle was coming off on it and stuff like that. And it's just no good. Yeah, so now, along with everything else I have to get ready for Friday, is probably Wednesday. It's supposed to be raining, so I have to get a trailer, load all these up again by hand, return them. They stock a 20% restocking fee, so that's a few $100 wasted. And then go to another place that's local that I went to buy some other roofing materials from. The guy was super nice there. So I'm going there, and I'm going to buy proper from a normal distributor and all that stuff, and get those loaded up and get those brought back here. And yeah, but in the meantime, I'm going to start with this small area of the roof here and just get started. It's I don't have a lot of drive. Every little hiccup kind of takes the wind out of your sails. So I got to get back in the groove and get things going. But it's hard pushing through these last couple of weeks. But we'll keep pushing. Let's see what we can do. I need to be ready for Friday morning, so I'll probably be working in the dark and in the rain. But wish me luck, it goes faster than I expect. So I'm up on the roof working on this last piece of sheathing I need to make here. So I got off all the old pieces, and there's a valley that comes in here at an angle because the two roof changes, and there's a funky corner here, and I want it to extend back over this way just a little bit. So I got to make it so it slides under that roof because it's supposed to go to the next roof rafter up under there for support for this and whatnot. So rather than work with the whole piece, I took a little scrap and I set it up. Nope. Yeah, so I set it up next to it and put a few marks, did a quick sawzall, and there it is. Fits in nice and tight, slides right under, and that's pretty much the overhang I want. So I have the original two boards up there, so I have those in there already, marking those out, but the original board ended about here, so I had no reference on this whole corner, and then it was actually out a big amount. So now I can take this, I can take a measurement from this outer edge all the way to here, which is 91 inches, and then I can mark the other board 91 inches, and I know this is the top edge of the new board that's going in, and I can just trace out my opening, cut that out the same way, and then when I come up here, it'll slide right in. It's all about taking the time for templates, especially when you're working on the roof. It's different if you're working on the floor. You can set it down there and keep sliding it around, but literally I'm having to move the ladder to fight the piece in. So if I can do it once, I want to do it once. I'll show you the layout inside. This is inside. I got my new board. That's the right height I need. And just laying these out, I am going to have to tag on one small piece up in the roof, but that's not bad. That's a little stub. And then everything outside in the rain pattern can be all structurally sound one piece all the way across, because I could extend it that way, get it under the roof all one piece. Then I'd have to do a 16-inch piece on the end. So I'd rather do a little 12-inch piece on that end that I have to fight in, and that's pretty much all up under the roof, like 2 inches of it. So yeah, so I laid these out. They overhung more than I need to. I was gonna have to cut them back, so I got these lined up where I want, and then I was able to mark where the old roofing nails were on the new one. So when I put this up, I'll know where to nail. And then we got my template right here. So we just got to make a little noise here. Get those off the edge, like so. And then I put my 91-inch mark right here. So I can take this, line it up to my 91 mark right there, and line it up at the top, about like so. And then I can just trace in this notch here and drop it off. I'll position it perfectly. It's not perfect right now. And then I just cut that out, and this piece is ready to go up. There we go. We'll get her done. well, that's today's tiny bit of progress. Got to make a million decisions on that, and then rip off a couple more shoot roof boards and make the plywood for it, get that all tied in, another piece tied up inside, decide on the height of these side pieces and the shape of them, and then decide on the cut on the top of this board and drop down and all that stuff. So made a bunch of decisions. I nailed that on. I still got to shim a couple of the roof rafters under there and nail those, but I really can't see what I'm doing on the top right now without getting ridiculous. So I'm going to call it for tonight, and then in the morning when it's sunny out, I'll be able to look at it and make sure it's not wavy one way or the other way before I start shimming and finally nailing it all. But if I'm happy with that in the morning, then that's all the math that I need for the rest of the house. So it's only a tiny bit of work, but it's a lot of figuring. So that'll help me move a little faster the rest of it. But in the meantime, I'm gonna close up. I got to fill up the camper with water, and then I'm gonna go take Riley out to meet up with Timber and get him run a bit, and then buck crack of dawn tomorrow I gotta run north and drop Riley off with my ex, and that'll be good because then the rest of the week I can kind of hammer down and I don't have to worry about him. So anyway, sorry for the uneventful one again, but stick with it. We're gonna get to the other side of all this tedious stuff once the roof goes on. Then it'll be finishing framing inside, starting to plan out the walls, build the interior walls, and all that fun stuff that's gonna really start bringing it together and actually see a lot of progress, hopefully. So stick with it. I will. Hopefully you guys will stick with stopping by. But anyway, we'll check in later. Thanks for watching.